Welcome back everyone for another Retro Restore where we're going to work on this exciting Super Nintendo. So what we have with this Super Nintendo here is a pretty nice sound that comes out of it. So if you can hear that nice little buzzing noise on there, we're going to get that taken care of. Now this system has already been taken apart and the inside has been cleaned pretty well. So it's not from anything like dust or hair or any junk like that. So we have the 6 screws on the bottom removed from here. Pop the top off here. Then we'll go ahead and get the screws removed from this and get the board out. I will put a link in the description of the one where we take one of these apart and go over the details of everything. Now always be careful when you are removing this part here, because you don't want to bend the ribbon. So now that we have our board out, one of the most common issues for a buzzing noise like that is you have some bad capacitors. And I'm always a fan of, instead of just changing like 1 or 2 capacitors, we're just going to go through and change all these capacitors on here. So go through a place like DigiKey and buy a bunch of these capacitors, or if you have any local stores that sell any of this type of stuff, then always help out local too. So it might get a little noisy. I'm going to turn on the exhaust fan. Also have safety glasses on right now because it's going to be removing some solder. Don't want to get any solder eye. We will start by removing these 2 right here. Where these surface mount ones, a lot of times it's easiest just melting that solder. You have to get it on both sides and then get it lifted up. We'll get it cleaned up after we get this one done. So we got those off. We'll get these cleaned up a little bit. Looks like may have had a leg left behind on there too, so we'll get that removed. For cleaning this, just going to use a Q-tip with some 91% isopropyl alcohol. Okay, and then try to remove the rest of that leg that's stuck on here. There we go. I'm pretty sure that capacitor was bad. You'd know exactly what I'm talking about if you ever recapped a Game Gear and you had to smell those capacitors. Then we'll get the replacement one set back down in place. Okay, that one's looking pretty good. We'll get the second one put back in there. Just going to add a little more solder to this pad first. Okay, so next we'll move on to this little one. Definitely for the smaller ones, I'm going to apply a little bit of flux, just to make this easier. Okay, and then we'll get this removed. There we go. Put some desoldering wick down here. That's smoking nicely. I think I have a little exhaust fan here. We'll get the rest of this cleaned up. So that one came up all nice and clean. And then I'll add a little bit of solder down there and get this one put in place. Okay, that one looks pretty good. Since I have these tiny ones here right now, I'll go ahead and take care of these 2. Made a little bit of mess with the flux, but that's fine. Okay, those 2 are off, so I'll get that area cleaned up and then get those 2 added back. Okay, those are nice and shiny. Now these 2 are so close together, I went ahead and added a little bit extra solder in between here. Okay, those ones are good. Then we have this big one here. Well, might actually have a minor issue. The replacement ones I got for that one are a little bit bigger than what that one is. Now for one of the easier ones, we will go ahead and take care of this one. We just flip the board over and then get our desoldering wick right here. And then we got that beast out. Let's clean up that spot a little bit and then get the new one put in place. Then we will feed it through from the other side and get that soldered down. Okay, we have that down there. Now on the board it actually does have, it has the plus and minus on there just so you know which way it goes if you forgot what way the other one was in there. Okay, we'll flip that over, bend these legs, and then add a little bit of solder. And then cut off the ends. Now be careful with these ends because I've actually had them jab into my fingers and it doesn't feel that pleasant. Okay, then on the bottom of the board, we have these 2 capacitors. Now we will start with the small one down here. And like always, I made a little bit of a mess with the flux, but nothing we can't get cleaned up. So I'll get that cleaned up. Okay, those are nice and shiny now. Then we have our final one right here. Get that flipped over and get it removed. Just use our desoldering wick on this. It's usually enough for these ones. And that one's been removed. I'll get it cleaned up a bit and then we'll get the new one put in there. Okay, we have that one in there. Just fold the legs and then add a little bit of solder. Then we'll clip these little legs off. There we go. Other than having the wrong size of that one, let's hope that one's still in good shape. But we will put this back together and give it a quick test and see if that sound's gone. Okay, we have those back in. We'll get this hook back up. Get the shield in place. Then the bar and lever will get back in. And then the power switch. Then we have a few more screws put around the board, like the big ones for cartridge slot. We will hold off on putting the shell screws in until we test it really fast. That plugged in. Put Super Tennis in there. Plug the power in. And turn it on. Pop that little screen up, then turn it on. That definitely seems like it's working a lot better. No more static. So that one just needed capacitors replaced on it to be able to fix the static noise. I have seen horror stories online where people have other things they need to do to get it working, but luckily in the case of this one, it was just the simple recapping. Such a catchy tune on this. Well, I can finish putting the shell the rest of the way together after this, but let me know in the comments if you've dealt with this issue before, if you've had to do things other than just a recap, or if you have any other issues with it. Once again, I will leave in the description a link to the other video where we actually take apart and clean one of these, because we go a little bit more in detail of all the steps involved. And if you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this or if it was helpful, make sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. I want to thank you for watching. Have a nice day.